Hello, my name is Mauro Corvelloni, also known as Mauro Cor, and some people are asking me to show my workflow regarding FiberFX, lightweight FiberFX. So I decided to make a little video, but it's not a tutorial exactly. It's more like some tips and tricks and some tools that I use to get the results that you see in my work. So let's start. The object that I will use to apply the FiberFX is this sphere, and we have to open the Effects tab, and in the Processing tab we have the Add Pixel Filter. Let's choose Fiber Filter and again choose Ball and activate the object. The Fiber Filter is already there, but you have to see it. So let's click this little eye just in front the object ball, and there it is. I would like to tell you about some tools very important in FiberFX. For example, max fiber density. Here I can determine where I want fur and where I don't want. And to do that we can use weight map or even an image. I will start applying an image here as an example. Actually, I already have it here. You see? The black part is the part where fiber will not be applied, and the white it will be. So let's open the texture editor, image map. The projection is UV because I already prepared this sphere with an UV map called texture UV, and let's apply the fur map 1, and there it is. As you can see, this is exactly the same way I have projected here in this picture. That's a way to apply hair in a head or whatever you want. And the texture applied or the weight map actually works like an alpha channel, because where you want fiber, but the amount we control here. For example, if I put 100% or more than that, we have more fibers, but it keeps respecting the map that I have created. So if I put 5%, the same thing. It's very important to know. The cluster tool, it's an interesting tool because here you can add more fibers in the object, and together with cluster radius you can determine the position of it. For example, if I have 100% here and I want to add, I will make shorter the scale. I think it's better to understand. And if I put 3 clusters, I will have 3 more times the amount of hair, and I can add some variation in the cluster radius. Here we have edit guides. What it does is to comb the fibers of the object. It's a very important tool, and let's do it. So clicking here, we can name the style. So let's put something like night fur, and then there is this another tab, and we have some options here. For example, I can click the symmetry axis. I can scale, push, straighten, single, and gator. I will tell the ones that I use more. So I have this global brush mode, and if I put scale, I can make it longer or shorter. Clicking the right button of the mouse, I can make it shorter. And because it's in the global mode, it takes every fiber of the object applied to the object. It's a nice way to control the size. Okay. The other one is the push, and if I keep the brush mode, it will do to the same fibers of the object. And I can change to brush radius or surface hug. Is almost the same, but the surface hug try to keep the fur close to the surface. Let's use the brush radius, and but with the scale, I want some fur longer than the other ones. Because I have the symmetry axis X, it will affect the both sides, you see? So let's make some long hair here and here, just to illustrate what I want. And let's use the push tool to make something more rebel. And there is this single option that I can change each fiber individually. In this case, symmetry doesn't work because you are changing each fiber. So let's see what happened. To get out from here, we have to click this button, and there it is. Well, so we have our guides edited. The style is nice fur, and now I will talk about fiber type, stroke and solid mode. There's another thing I would like to talk, that's about the fiber type. Actually, if I change here, there is no change in the OpenGL view. But if I render with VPR, it's easier to see. There are two types of fiber type. The stroke type, I will reduce the amount of density, and I will make the fiber width to 4 millimeters. The fiber type stroke, it's like a strip if you see closely. That's my favorite type of fiber when I use it in my characters, because I think the rendering is faster. And you see, it's like a little strip. And if I change to solid, it becomes something like a tube or a cylinder. Take a look at this. And you can use the fiber type with end caps. What does it do? If I put cap base, it will make the base rounded. You can see here, but in solid mode you can see it better. The beginning of the fiber is rounded, and there is the option to make the cap tip rounded too. You see here, I can change to stroke and it will be rounded. And I can choose cap both, and then both will be rounded. the beginning of the fiber and the end of it. I don't use it too much because there is another ways that I like to make the fiber looks like. So let's move on. Another very important tool is fiber width that determines the thickness of the fiber. So normally I use a gradient map to make this. For example, I put fiber V, I choose fiber V, and because there is a high value here, 1, the thickness of the fiber is strong. But if I change it to 0.01, it's better. But for a fur or hair, it needs to be even thicker. So I will put 0.001. Or if I want a very tiny fiber, I can put 0.0001. Normally, what I do is start with a lower value, like 0.0005, and then in the parameter 0, and then I make it thicker. You see? So I have a lot of control in the thickness of the fiber. I can make it even bigger, and at the end I can put a low value again. You see? I can play with it. Of course, that's not what I want. So I will change the value here. It's too much. And okay, there it is. If we add more density, 100% of density, that is what to get. Well, fiber smooth is exactly what the name says. It smooths the fiber, and we can add some gravity here. You see? It makes the fiber goes to the bottom part. We can put some negative value too, and we have the opposite. But normally I don't use. I prefer comb the fiber. Then we have the second tab called styling. It has some important tools to comb and to add some nice style to the hair, to the comb. So the first one we have here is the fiber kink. As the name says, it kinks the fiber. So if I put some low value, you can see the result. If I put 50%, the fiber is more kinked. And if I put 100%, look. And if I put 200%, 100%, it goes crazy. But it depends what you are doing. If it's a carpet or some grass or some other thing, you have a lot of options here. I will put 0 again, and let's go with splay. It splays the tip of the fiber. Take a look. You see? So if you want some kind of rebel hair or fur, you can use display. It will display the type of the fiber. Let's put 0 again, and let's talk about this tray. This tray is one that I like most because I have some nice variation of the hair. It takes some fibers in the object and it goes crazy with it. For example, 50%. You see, it creates some longer fibers, some different fibers, and if I put 100%, it's more visible. I will keep that way for now. Then we have the swirl that makes exactly that. It makes a twist in each fiber. For example, let me reduce the amount of fiber, then you can see better. If I put 50%, you see? It makes a twist in each fiber. You can choose random to get some variation, and here you have these 3 turns, so it determines how much the 3 turns in this comb. Let's keep 0 for now, and 0 here too. And let's talk about the tuft. In a first moment, the tuft makes the fiber shorter. For example, you see, if I put high values, it makes the hair shorter. But actually, the tuft works with the clump, and you will see why. I want to show the use of clump and tuft together. To do that, I will choose none for style, so I get the original comb, no comb actually, and I will take off the density of the fiber. I will take off this map, and I will put 100% of hair. I think it's better to see the clump in action. So, for example, I have this sphere with all this hair, and if I put 50%, the clump put fibers together as little groups. If I put, you see here the effect, I will reduce the amount of the fiber. I think it's more visible. If I put 2000, oops, sorry, it's here, it's more visible. And when I use the tuft, it changes the way the clump is created. For example, you see, it changed the tuft along the fiber. So those tools are nice when used together. Okay. There's another thing that I would like to show you, and that's how to create weight maps to control the maps. In this case, let's start with the density map. Let's take off this. It's not working for some reason. Oh, okay. It needed a refresh. So here, let's create the weight map in the first place, and let's choose some polygons and apply. Let's choose a name, fur density, for example, and let's keep 100%. There it is. Save your object and synchronize layout, just in case. So here in the max fiber density, let's click the texture button and let's choose layer type gradient. Input parameter, we want to apply the weight map that you just have created. So for density, there it is, and let's put value 0, so there is no fur, because here is a negative value, here is the middle, and let's keep 0, the parameter 0%, value 0%, and at the end let's keep 100%, and there it is, exactly where we painted the map we wanted to add fur. So what else we could do here? For example, I don't want the same amounts. I want a variation. So I want some areas with more hair and another areas with less hair. So let's back here, and for example, let's choose this part and set map value. Let's put 20%, and here to this point 20%. Let's save the object and synchronize layout. You see, now there is less fibers here because we put a lower value here in this part. So that's a way you can control the density, and you can use the same way to control, for example, the scale map, the length of your hair. Let's do that right now. To do that, I will take off this weight map tool. Let's refresh, adding a new value. There it is. And let's create a scale map. So let's put 0 here. There is no scale, so there is no length to our fibers, but let's create in Modeler a nice weight map for this. Fur size, initial value 0, and what I want is that this part have some hair. So I'll put 100%, save, synchronize layout, and here we will create the other map. So gradient, because it's 100%, it covers all He covers all the object. Let's change to weight map. Choose the weight map. In this case is first size. Let's put 0 here, 0 here, and 100% at the end. And there it is. Here we have this is shorter hair because it's the transition. You see? So if I want to add some shorter hair here too, all I have to do is to add a lower value, save, and there it is. You see? If I want a better transition, I can control the value of my weight map. For example, if here is 100, I can put 80%, 50% here, 25% here, and let's see what happens. You see? So that's a great way to control the size of the hair of your character, your animal, or whatever. And you can create some variation adding some random lengths too. For example, 50%. You see? And now the fibers is not exactly the same. And if I want some more variation, I can put some part angle, or I can create a bump map. In this case, I will choose a procedural texture, and let's put some more contrast here and make the values smaller, lower, 2. There it is. So that's a way to make a nice hair, a nice fur. And now I would like to show you another thing, but it's in the surface editor. Let me put a smaller value here, 0, but I will choose gradient and fiber V, and let's put the 0.0001 to start the fiber, and then I want something more visible, and let's finish that way, no problem. Let's put some more density in this. Let's keep that old map, just image map, UV, texture UV, fur map 1, there it is. And I would like to show you something very interesting about the surface editor. Here we have a dedicated material for hair and fur. It's very easy to use, but there is this cheap transparency that I think helps a lot to make the hair softer, not so dirty, not so hard. So normally I use 20%. Let me see if I can show you the effect. Again, back to the FiberFX tab. I will change to 0.1. You see, now I have some transparency at the tip. I can even put some more. The only problem is that it takes more time to render. So I'll keep that with 20%. Let me put some more hair here. And another thing you can do to make the hair softer, fluffy, is to put some transparency in the shadow. So for example, if I put 50%, the hair looks softer. You see? I can even put some more. Combining with the color of the hair, you can get a very nice shader. You can change the specular value to, and this surface editor, I suggest that you try different values, different settings, and play with it a little bit to get what you want. Okay, so I think that's it. If you need something, if you have some doubt or if you need something, just tell me. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and bye bye. Corvelloni, also known as Mauro Core, and some people are asking me to show my workflow regarding FiberFX, lightweight FiberFX, and so I decided to make a little video, but it's not a tutorial exactly. It's more like some tips and tricks and some tools that I use to get the results that you see in my work. So let's start.